Welcome once again to Inside Athletics, brought to you by the IAAF. I'm your host, Ato Golden. It's not very often we have track and field royalty on the program, but today is such a day. Welcome to the program, Jackie Joyner Kersee. Folks, she has 6 Olympic medals, 3 of which are gold. She's also been world champion 4 times. So it's a medal collection that just about anybody in this sport would be envious of. Jackie Joyner Kersee, welcome to the program. Welcome to Eugene, Oregon.
Thanks for having me.
I want to ask you first, your heptathlon world record. You have been the world record holder in this event since 1986. The last one you set was in 1988. I want to ask you, the way I asked Mike Powell about his long jump world record, who on the horizon looks like they are even capable of approaching your record?
You know, at one point when Carolina Clough was competing,
yes,
and I thought she had the ability to break it, but then
she didn't like the event.
I know, I had no idea that she didn't like the event and wanted to go triple jump and do the long jump. But anyway, good for me, I guess.
Really good for you.
But now looking at Johnson Thompson
from Great Britain.
Yes. And 21 years of age, but just to see her progression from what she was able to do in London in the 2012 Olympics and Ennis, being very consistent. But when I look at the numbers, I see Katrina really being one.
Thompson.
Yes, and then also Kendall Williams, even though she's young.
Yes.
I love
this.
Yes, I love to see the multi-events get back to a level of competitiveness on the American side.
Yes.
And because I do feel there's a lot of great talent out there, but right now Thompson, William, I just feel the way her development and growth, and she has time, that there's a possibility.
Now, a lot of track athletes of your era, they retire and you almost never see them around the sport again. Why is it that you've stuck around? What is it about the sport that keeps you coming back?
You know what? I love the sport, and even when I competed, I gave my all, and I always saw myself as a mentor, giving advice. Even on the developmental side, because I really do believe in working with the grassroots, because a lot of times, even before people would see me, they would see me on the world class level, like here at IAAF events, then, oh, you're on the scene, but I'm always the one that's in the background, helping the ones that's underfunded, that, no one knows about, but that's where our, we're state high school champions, national champions, and eventually Olympic hopefuls and Olympians, come from the grassroots program. So being on that level, even though it's hard, but I love it. But then also being able to come and see my friends, on the world class level, I love it.
That's a lot of responsibility, though. There's so many track and field athletes that I have talked to over the past 10 or 15 years, and they're like, well, when I met Jackie, or when Jackie came to see me, or like Dawn Harper Nelson, she's like, when Jackie told me I could be great, that was all I needed. That's a lot of responsibility for you. You are such a mother figure, for lack of a better phrase, to so many of these athletes. Do you feel a sense of responsibility even now, where a lot of these athletes that we'll see at the World Juniors, they know of you, but they never saw you compete.
Exactly.
So what's that like, where you have these athletes who are continuously looking up to you and looking to you for some sort of inspiration? That's a lot of responsibility.
It's a lot of responsibility when you're looking from the outside in. But when you're in the mix, you just feel that that's what you naturally do.
Okay.
You see someone, if they stumble, you go over and give them encouragement. You pat them on the back and say it's going to get better. Or if someone is doing well, you tell them to stay focused. Don't get into your news clippings, but continue to work hard. And it's just a part of what you do. But then on the other hand, as a little girl growing up, being able to sit in a room with Wilma Rudolph, and it's like, oh my God.
So you had people who you were like that
exactly.
with too.
So I just think of it, I just think that if I'm going to be a messenger, I'm going to be a positive messenger. I'm going to try to give you my best advice. Now you might not want to listen to it, but that's stuff up to you. But I'm going to give it to you regardless if you want it or not.
I want to ask you, though, you have been around this sport for a while. Many would say you were around when this sport was in its heyday, the golden era, when we could sell out the Coliseum for track and field. If I could give you 2 things that you could change about the sport now to get it closer to what it used to be, what would those 2 things be?
The 2 things, one of them would be exposure.
Yeah.
And
on television or just in general?
I think a combination of it all.
Yeah.
Television, marketing.
Right.
Because we live in a time now where people got to see it. You
Yes,
know, they want
absolutely.
instant gratification.
Yes.
You know, they don't believe in being patient.
Right.
No.
Right.
You know, so I would say that, and then also being able to maybe bring back the team aspect of it.
Really?
That make it competitive. That then make people buy into. You know, I mean, I know we're not like soccer or anything, but I mean, there's people
root
ain't never
for teams, especially
right,
in America.
Exactly.
People can get behind a team.
Right. You know, and then now it becomes, oh, okay. So you got your clubs, you got this. Then now, you know, you're all vying for this. But then when you go to make the Olympics, then you're all going for your individual events.
Yeah.
But and yeah, I think you said you gave me only two, so I would say a combination of that
so
and making it
and the team concept.
Right.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I want to ask you. Think back to getting ready for the 1988 Olympic Games in Seoul. You had to be going into that meet with a ton of confidence. You had been world champion the year before. On the road to Seoul, was there anything leading into those games where you just went, you know what, like you had a day in practice where you just went, there is no way that anybody on this planet is going to be able to deal with me in Seoul?
You know, that road to Seoul, I mean, it was tough, but the turning point was when we were at the, I can't remember, where were we at, Chiba, or a training site, and I was training doing the 800, and I was telling Bobby that, you know, I know we always want to come through 62, but I said, but for whatever reason, I get in the meet, I come through in 64.
Really?
So let's train 58. So I had to do back-to-back 58s, and I hadn't done it, and I knew then that I was like, oh, that's good for the 800.
Do it.
Right.
Oh, wow.
You know, and because I felt that I know I'm not going to go into a competition running 58. So I probably hit my 62. But my mindset, though, was to be very, very realistic and not to take that moment for granted. And really the thought was that in 84 I wasn't mentally tough because I had an injury.
Yeah.
And going into 88, a lot of people didn't know this, is that I had patella tendonitis really bad.
Yeah, that hurts. We can't talk about Seoul without me thinking of Flojo. It's been almost 16 years since we lost her. Tell me about your favorite memories of Florence.
Oh, wow. My favorite memories of Florence. Florence was really... if you went in our group, you wouldn't really know. Florence was very outgoing.
Yeah.
You know, where a lot of people learned about the fashion. And one of the things as a team, we try to, when Florence came up with the one leg idea, and I never forget, we were in Mount Sac. And so we decided that, okay, Florence, if this is what you really want to do, then let us wear the outfit so we can bring exposure.
Right.
And for whatever reason, Bobby put me on the first leg of the mile relay.
Nice.
And Florence is running the anchor, and I was like, Florence, I can't get in the blocks. My cheek. She said, Jackie, just run, just focus on running. I'm like, when I say set.
So there were some drawbacks to that one-legged outfit.
Yes, because we were experimental, before she really got the elastic right.
Right.
Man, that one of the things would creep up. I was like,
you gotta go 400 meters.
And you at Mount Sac at that time. Mount Sac, yeah,
sold out.
Oh gosh, so, but and then also Florence was very focused, and if she didn't like you, she didn't like you.
Right.
But other than that, great teammate. But it was, it was really a sad loss.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember seeing her just before I went to the Commonwealth Games, and then I came back and they said she had passed, and it was like surreal feeling, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. You and I both miss her. Let's bring it back to modern day track and field. We talked about the fact that your record has been there for a very, very long time. What about the long jump? It seems like the jumps that you guys were able to do in the 80s and 90s nobody really approaches them. For all the accolades and the medals that somebody like a Brittany Reese has won, there's still a gap. I want to ask you a question specific to somebody that may be out there and watching. Somebody may be sitting out there and they're saying, you know what, I'm pretty good in high school. I feel like this is maybe what I want to do. I watch track and field. This is something that I really think I want to do. At what point do you know I'm capable of being a world-class hurdler, long jumper? Was there a time in your career where you just went, okay, it's clear now that that is the path that I'm on?
I don't know when.
Or does it take a coach to see you and sort of bring it out of you before you even know it's there?
You know, your coaches see the potential in you.
Right, even before you do
right,
sometimes.
And they'll say that to you.
Yeah.
But it's the confidence that you lack or you have.
So you didn't know it all before you got discovered? I mean, you were a great athlete in high school. You didn't
right.
know that
I
Olympic gold medalist could have been your future?
No, because all I want to do is get on TV. And I went and I thought I'd go to the Olympics. You know?
Oh, so the Olympics is more about the TV than the gold medals. Okay, the truth comes out, huh?
But I'm going to tell you, I played basketball at UCLA.
Right.
And one of the things we had to do was weightlift.
Right.
But when you were younger coming up, they were like, if you weightlift, it's going to throw your shot off.
Really?
So when I would go into the weight room, we would just fill out the chart.
And you wouldn't actually lift?
No.
Wow.
And I didn't understand how important weightlifting was until I started running track. And when I went to Europe later on in the season, and then all of a sudden I'm like breaking down, and that's when I said,
need to lift weights?
Yes, because I saw the women, I was like, ooh, these girls are strong. And all I could think about was like, I just broke my, so then I realized that if I do my weightlifting, if I start taking this stuff serious, I can compete with them.
Right.
Because Bobby, when I was younger, he would always say to me that, you could be a world record holder. I'm like,
and you don't believe it?
No, because you only look at your times.
Right. You don't see the potential, you don't see the future.
Right. And when he broke it down in the heptathlon for me, when I made a team to go to Russia, and he didn't let me go. He said, because I don't want to send you over there right now.
Goodwill Games?
No, this was, right,
okay.
U.S. against,
yes,
he said, because you're not ready yet. And I said, what do you mean? And on the inside, I was like, oh, I want to go home, because I hadn't been able to go home. So I was like, okay. So he said, no, because right now you're right at 59, 6,000 points. They're scoring 64, 65. If I send you over there, you're going to think you can't compete with them. And I said, well, what's going to change? So he broke it down. He showed me in the hurdles. In the hurdles, I was running 14.8.
Wow.
Jane Frederick ran 13.20. She beat me. High jump, I was jumping. He said, you jumping 6 feet to clear 5.8. Technique problem.
Right.
So then the shot put stayed 200 meters. He said, this is where it is. I'm running 23 seconds in the 200. Jane was running 25. He said, now why is it when I put the barriers in front of you, she can outrun you?
Right.
So that's technical. Long jump, you got it. He said, you made your mind up, you want to run it, because I ran 2:09 and 8. I would run in the back and just pick all the speed up. And he said that, but you got to give it time. While you playing basketball, you got to come out in the morning and you got to learn how to lay out. You can't be sitting over that bar, with that caboose you have on you. It's not going to work. So that's what I mean by you jumping 6 feet to clear 5.8.
Right.
So I said, oh, okay. It started making sense.
So he had to sort of convince you by showing you on paper.
Right.
Look, if you can do this, which we know you can be a world record holder.
And he told me how important technique was. Because, when you're younger, you
you don't care about technique.
Right, you're like, oh, well, I've been winning, so I'm going to run the same way.
Right.
No. So then I learned it's like, because I used to come out there with knee pads on, volleyball knee pads, to run the hurdles.
Yeah.
Me and my team. We didn't want to hit our knees.
Wow.
But then it's amazing though, once you start getting it, because my goal was go from 14.8, 14.6. And I never forget when I was at UCLA, it was like, okay, I'm on my way, I'm going. It took me forever to get under 13 seconds, but then once you go, you just drop all of a sudden. And then you got the rhythm.
Of course.
And that became part of, oh, I could do this. But the physical part was there, but it's also the mental. Because you don't realize how important the mental is until you actually in the competition and all these different distractions that interfere with you focusing on trying to get the job done.
Sounds like what you're saying is the coach that you have early in your career is absolutely critical.
Yes. The teaching,
yes.
all of that. Because I see young people and people compare the times, and it's not really the times, it's preparing you. What I learned to do is to be consistent.
Yes.
I
And you were
wanted
very
to be.
consistent, yeah.
That's what I wanted to be consistent, because I figured that you would eventually learn how to win.
Yeah.
But I had to go through it and then learn something from each step along the way. And my goal was be in the top three. Top three makes the team. You know, doesn't matter, you're in the top three. Execute the numbers. Heptathlon, Bobby saying, I need you to be able to execute a winning jump on the first jump.
Wow.
So we'll go out there and we'll try to do that, because
First jump.
yes, because if I'm trying to do the heptathlon, you know, it's like you got to do this. Your legs, I ain't gonna have 6 good jumps in me, so I ain't got time to be fouling. So it's like I gotta get in here. And that's how we were trained. Let the legs be heavy. Go over there and get 6 run-throughs in and do pop-ups. But
let me tell you this true story. When I was deciding where to go to school, UCLA sent me the media guide, and I opened it and I looked. Mike Powell, Mike Marsh, Gail Devers, Jackie Joyner Kersee, Arthur Ashe, and I just went, well, first of all, I looked at you guys' collection of medals, and I went, my gosh. And then I figured out something in my own head. I said, if I go to UCLA and I get an NCAA title, I have like a 75% chance of winning an Olympic medal. That did it for me. So I have to tell you that your influence on the rest of the sport is documented, but you are a big part of the reason why I went to UCLA. So thank you for all you've contributed to this sport, and thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Always good to see you.
Always good.